Attention. The movie guys love movies. Any comments about George Clooney's wedding are just an excuse to reference Batman and Robin. Isn't that right, Joel Schumacher?
Hi, Freeze. I'm Batman. I'm not the marrying kind.
It took 2 lines to be reminded of how bad a Batman he was.
It's so funny, though.
Decent Bruce Wayne.
Good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Decent Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. He should be the ideal choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all
Billionaire
chin.
Playboy.
I'll tell you one thing about George Clooney, though. He lived that down immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, really, like, if people have embarrassments on their credentials or whatever, and they'd take a long time to live that down. It's funny. We were making that joke last night or whatever about Batman and Robin. It's like, he lived that down next to movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh, never mind, whatever.
That did not stick to him at all.
Yeah, was it Out of Sight next?
I think so, yeah. Something like that, or Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Or,
I think a lot of people go, oh, that's right, he was Batman. Moving on.
That's exactly what I said.
See?
Yeah, I think he was known for this as well.
Never leave the cave without it.
Got the Bat Visa.
The Bat Visa card expires forever.
Is that what it says?
Something like that, yeah. Date issued forever or something like that. And it makes a little cha-ching sound, which is ridiculous. Why would you do that to a movie?
I did like when he argued with Robin.
She wants to kill you, Dick.
That was good stuff.
I actually enjoy that movie quite a bit. I've said that before on the show. But it is the only big screen adaptation of the Adam West TV show.
Absolutely. Watching the clips today, I'm like, that's if you can just say, forget it, and swap out Arnold for Cesar Romero and everybody else, Bane for Frank Gorshin. You're watching basically the 60s Batman.
I don't know. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the movie Showcast, everybody, part of the vast and sprawling movie guys empire. I've seen the future, and it's a bald-headed man from New York. You've reached ground zero for all things movies and comedy. We bring the two together right here on our show every week with jokes, rants, sketches, characters, bits, special guests, and more as we broadcast from the Admirals Club in Burbank, a city built by people, pride, and progress. They don't stop making movies, so we don't stop making comedy shows about movies, which means you can get a new show from us every week. Basically, search The Movie Guys or The Movie Showcast anywhere on Google, Yahoo, or Bing! Bing! And we come right up. That's iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, and, of course, themovieguys.net, absolutely free, and we encourage you to subscribe where you can, and if you do, still, no charge. Now, speaking of themovieguys.net, if you find yourself over there, you can read the article I wrote about Gene
We just
Hackman.
ignore that. Did you
Please.
see
Yeah,
his face? He's like, are we going to get landed on? What is that?
Yeah.
Don't worry. Nobody notices the planes are flying over, Matt.
You'll be safe, Matt. They usually don't hit us.
Matt, you say? That's right. We are joined.
Spoiler alert.
We are joined.
Yeah, I didn't know if I was allowed to talk yet or not. So I've
big
just been
reveal.
like real quiet. So
Yeah.
Well, his eyes just got really big when the plane sound happened.
I thought that was my stomach.
We have an Emmy-nominated comedian, writer, improviser, and Second City alum.
Fancy.
Touch.
Would you say you're a Second City alum or alum or alumni?
Alum.
Alum.
Alum?
Or alum.
Or alum.
Alum, yeah.
Alum, if you're an
I'm a
old Three
Second City
Stooges
alum.
short and you have to find something on the shelf to put in a thing to make
alum.
crazy things happen.
It makes somebody pucker up.
Alum, come home, alum.
There's alum everywhere in society in like Three Stooges.
Yeah,
I've never seen it in my
every
life.
cupboard with all of the spices has that in it.
Right next to ether.
Yeah, right next
Which is
to
in
ether.
everyone's
Yeah.
home.
And Limburger cheese. Like,
Just sitting out.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever had Limburger cheese? I throw to the table.
I have.
And how
I
is
have.
it?
It tastes better than it smells.
yeah.
Oh.
It is like a blue cheese, so it's like a moldy
that's
cheese,
strong.
but it
It's like a foot.
smells like feet
Oh, fabulous.
and it tastes like feet. So
But it tastes like good feet.
good
Hey,
feet,
that's Matt
good
Craig, everybody.
Matt Craig.
Matt Craig. Yay.
Shut up. That's exciting.
My name is Paul Preston, here with Lee Caius, Adam Witt, and Karen Volpe. Check out our show here, the movie Showcast, on WBAD.net, Fridays at 4, and JonasMountRadio.com, Thursdays at 6, if you want another way to listen to our fine program. What do we got today? We've got Karen's birthdays, a gift exchange, some movie reviews, and, of course, we want to prepare you, the humble moviegoer, for what's coming up in theaters as we bring you the core of every show, the Movie Guys movie previews. 2 films to discuss as we enter October. This week, it seems... sucks to be a blonde white woman as they find themselves in peril in this week's movies. First, in Annabelle, about a possessed toy. Let's play a clip of that.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends?
That's how I remember the commercial, quite frankly.
I think that was a clip. I might have been wrong. And the highly anticipated Gone Girl, which is not only a movie but also the clever title Variety has up its sleeve for when Zooey Deschanel's sitcom gets canceled.
She has a sitcom?
Yeah. Let's play a little clip of that.
Nick Dunn, you're probably the most hated man in America right now. Did you kill your wife, Nick?
That's the big question. That's the crux of the movie. You're going into the movie basically to find out the answer to that
Unless
question.
you've read the book like Matt Craig, in which case you know.
Matt Craig, I wanted to read the book.
I know all
Don't tell me.
the answers.
I'm so
I know all
excited
of
and
them.
intrigued.
Yes, please don't spoil.
By you and by the
Yeah.
book.
Well, yeah, and I won't spoil.
Wouldn't it be great if he just said the ending and then
Oh my God,
left
I
the
would
Admiral's Club? Like, dropped the
It's
mic.
not. I don't know if this spoils it, but it's not. There's no mystery, and I don't. There is no. It's just one long rambling, like kind of a young man's journey movie.
Can I
think
answer
they're
your question?
publicizing
I
it
don't
wrong.
want to see a young man's journey
like
movie.
Danny, the champion of the world.
Yeah, I mean it's weird. I don't know what this is all about. He basically he gets on a bus and he goes out and he does word jumbles and stuff.
And he hangs out with his friends on the
It's not a
railroad
dream.
tracks. They find a dead body.
It's Fincher though, right? So Fincher could make a guy doing word jumbles on a bus
Oh, fascinating.
look
Absolutely.
riveting, right?
Especially
So-
on a bus.
Yeah, I mean, I would watch.
Sure.
Like,
I mean,
that's
no-
what it's going to come to. Fincher's going to put out a movie called like Sitting. And we'll all be like, it's riveting. Who sat there first?
Yeah, because after Facebook, the movie,
That was fascinating.
which was
was
a success.
fascinating.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, I was on the edge of my seat in that movie more
Oh my
than.
God, I kept forgetting to breathe.
Oh yeah.
Facebook.
And yet I
And
know
it's
the
like,
ending.
yeah.
There's
Right.
Facebook is the ending.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Then again, I could have been getting sidetracked by the fact that there were two of the Army Hammers. I
Yeah.
can barely deal with one.
Yeah.
There were two of them walking around.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. And from that moment on, I thought anytime Army Hammer appears in a movie, they should always use him twice.
They should-
Just because it
That's
works.
what they should have done in Lone Ranger. Should have
yes!
been 2 Lone Rangers
I agree.
and less Depp.
What a funny truth is stranger than fiction thing. The fact that there were 2 big white pricks, those jock guys, breathing down his neck. Like twins.
Twin.
have asked-
Handsome, huge,
Couldn't have gone up
gorgeous.
for a nerd. He couldn't have gone up against anything worse than
No.
2 twin crew rowers.
Yeah, that's a bunch. I was always like, I'm so mad. Let's go row. That was it. You know.
You know, I've learned in talking to you leading up to the show, Matt, that you don't get out to a lot of movies. Yet it sounds like you saw The Lone Ranger.
Oh, no.
I did see The Lone Ranger.
That's the one you picked out over there.
You know, I will admit that I'm the kind of guy that when I go to movies that are big and ridiculous, if I can watch it in my home, which is, I have children right now, which means that and I love movies, and I used to go all the time, but I'm well behind. But now when I do want to spend money to go see a movie, I want to see something that is going to be worth being in this huge space, and sometimes it backfires because there is a definite inverse proportion of movies that you can watch in your home are usually story-wise more intriguing than the ones that you can see. Although Guardians of the Galaxy broke that for me, but I fell asleep in that Transformers movie in 3D because to me there was a whole chunk of that was like watching bike chains or like the workings of a clock. I was like, what is happening?
Oh, I've always said
I
you
felt
throw
so
a,
fucking old. I was like, and then I fell asleep, which solidified it. That I
you
was
throw
like,
a toolbox in the air. That's
Yeah.
2 Transformers fighting.
yeah, that's what I was like. Wait, who's who? Who am I rooting for? You're all metal. It's a beautiful clock. That's what I
well, now that you have children, it has to be worth it for you to go out and then watch a movie while putting up with other people's children.
Yeah,
because that's all movies are
But
now.
I
It's
will
like
admit
a daycare
that
center.
seeing those movies now with a kid is a whole new experience because now.
What
like,
movie would you not take your child to out today? I mean, how old are your kids?
5 and 2.
So everything's fair game, right?
well, then it's now my daughter's old enough to understand that like what terrifies her, and there are moments that most of it is Disney, and Disney's getting
Very
wiser.
scary,
About I was
very
there.
scary.
I was part of the Frozen phenomenon though because
yeah?
of her. Like I saw this movie and was like, oh, this is going to be tripe like most of them, and then I was like, no, this is actually a pretty good story, and then it just sucks. All the girls just get sucked into it. They're like, they have 2 choices of who they want to be. Both are heroes.
Yeah. Well,
Anyhow.
The girls love Disney princess movies. Oh, well, here's one with 2
2 of
princess-
them. Yeah,
I mean,
like, we doubled up the odds.
somebody just was a
Yeah.
winner when they thought that up over at Disney.
It's like Facebook having the 2 jocks. Now you got 2 princesses.
See, everybody's happy.
Well, let's get to our first film. You know what you get an audience to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of a hit horror movie, don't you? That's right, a sequel. Let's talk Annabelle. Adam?
Annabelle is the prequel to the hit budget constraints of 2013's The Conjuring, which made over $300 million on a budget of $14 and an old shoe.
The star of The Conjuring returns to the role she originated. That would be a doll named Annabelle. Fear not, no actors were cast in the making of this movie. In this film, Annabelle actually gets her name, the title. Forget name above the title. Real stars get their name, the title. Just like that movie Shia LaBeouf.
In Annabelle, we get the backstory for The Conjuring fans were clamoring for, and find out how the doll became cursed to begin with. It's a premise that's sure to make fans of The Conjuring say, sure.
In The Conjuring Origins, Annabelle, a clueless husband buys the creepiest, scariest-looking doll ever for his expectant wife, and they proceed to not notice this fact as they leave the doll lying around super scary-looking as their lives are turned into a door from hell.
More creepy dolls. Did we learn nothing from Child's Play?
I am Chucky, the killer doll, and I dig it.
It's a little on the nose, don't you think? Yeah.
And Dolls, and Dead Silence, and May, and Magic, and Poltergeist, and Puppet Master, and Delivers from Evil, and Talkie Tina.
Agreed. Like, hey, put this amazingly creepy doll with a demonic smile on its face in the same room as your infant child.
What could possibly go right?
Actually, dolls do get a bad rap in the movies. Teddy bears actually make out much better.
Oh, my God, where are my manners? Laurie, this is Angelique, Heavenly, Shireen, and Sauvignon Blanc. I love you girls. You know, somewhere out there are 4 terrible fathers I wish I could thank for this great night.
But to this movie, because after the couple survives a home invasion by satanic cultists, which causes the doll to become possessed, the family does the smartest thing in the history of horror movies. They move!
Hey, well done.
Congratulations, family.
Well played, family. Well played.
Now, unfortunately, as we've already given away, it wasn't the house that was the problem. Rather, it's the doll that is, according to the studio's description of the film, a sinister conduit to the damned. And I just want to take a second to say, way to go, marketing guy. Way to go, marketing guy. Sinister conduit to the damned.
I'd also like to say, way to go, marketing guy, for releasing your horror movie in, get this, October.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's probably going to do pretty well around Halloween time, so take note. You're Next, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, A Haunting in Connecticut 2, Oculus, The Quiet Ones, Paranormal Activity, The Marked Ones, Devil's Due.
Agreed.
Okay.
So, you just throw the doll away, right? No, apparently that didn't work because a couple does that, and Annabelle still shows up in their belongings even after they move.
So what? Burn it? Tie it to a bunch of cinder blocks and sink it to the bottom of the lake or the ocean?
You'd think so, but no. You know what? I think we actually accidentally played.
Premise solved in 10 seconds.
Oh, nailed it. It should also be noted that Annabelle Wallis stars as not Annabelle, surprisingly, but as the mom, who I'm sure also has a name, but IMDb is way over there.
And she's the first of 2 white blonde women in peril this week. This film could stand a dose of Taraji P. Henson from last month's No Good Deed, standing up to all this terror. Black women ain't putting up with this doll shit.
Can a sequel succeed Ron Livingston-less, or even Patrick Wilson-less? We'll find out if the premise alone is enough to bring audiences.
There you go.
Attaboy, Annabelle. Attaboy.
Now, with The Conjuring, they probably had a similar trailer to... Actually, we saw the whole preview at WonderCon.
They didn't make no mention of the doll, I don't think.
Can I just ask you, can I get a one-sentence reminder of what The Conjuring was? Because I'm fairly certain I saw it, but I don't.
Okay. That's all you're getting.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
There's a really creepy moment
right,
where they play this game.
Oh,
and they go off and they go like that, and then some creepy hands come out of the darkness and do that next to someone.
Yeah.
It's a scary, scary moment.
And there's a doll at one point that is possessed, and this is the origins of the doll.
Yeah, I think they figure out the house is not haunted, the doll is haunted, right?
Where are we in society now that we need to have an origin story for everything? Like, I mean, honestly, like, what's next? Like, the origin story of where you got your shock top.
It was an hour ago. I was at the convenience store.
Oh.
Let me tell you how the convenience store started. Boy, I can make any story boring by going to excessive backstory.
Keep going back.
What is it with society that everything needs to be explained? That's a good point.
It's just simplification at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But was Darth Vader a child? Well, we'll give you a whole movie and tell you, yes, he was a child, like all adults.
I just assume everybody was kind of fucked up in their childhood, and that's why they're crazy now.
Yeah.
Isn't that usually
That's the origin story of most people.
Or I'd rather have, like, the origin story of this doll. I would rather have, like, Satan playing with it for an hour and a half, just to see like what is his playtime like.
Yes.
They keep going.
I mean, that's where it came from, right?
End up.
Wait,
Yeah.
It was a conduit
That's
to
like
what?
2 movies. Away.
Conduit.
Sinister Conduit to the Damned.
Yeah, see, a sinister conduit.
Okay, hey, this is a good time to play. I always play rock band or improv troupe. Sinister Conduit to the Damned. Rock band or improv
That's a
troupe?
rock band.
That's a rock band.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty easy one.
But listen, they have
To the Bagel Factory would be if it was Sinister
Yeah,
Conduit to the
to
Bagel Factory. That's an improv group. That's improv.
Because I'm just
And
thinking
freeze.
cod pieces when you say the other one. I just
Yeah.
see like studded cod
Yeah,
pieces.
absolutely.
Cod
They
piece.
can make any toy.
Improv troupe or rock band?
Cod piece could be either way.
Okay.
Yeah, that definitely could go
That's
either
a
direction.
heavy metal group that does a short form improv set in the middle of their show.
In Norway.
And freeze!
They can make any toy scary now. Remember this commercial?
My body, my body, my body.
That was scary. That he had a weird stare about him.
They eventually had My Sister or something.
Oh yeah,
My
Kid
Sister?
Yeah, Kid Sister.
Oh,
Kid
My
Sister. That's it.
Yeah, I would love for them to have My Sister.
Yeah.
I want the My Sister doll.
Kid Sister, rock band or improv group?
Rock band.
Yeah, I think that it's like an all female.
Feels like I've already seen Kid Sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They opened for
ZZ Top.
they opened
Twist
for
Kid
Rock.
Sister.
Yeah.
Twisted Kid Sister.
Well, listen, all you gotta
Twisted Kid Sister.
All you got to do is slow down My Buddy and it gets scary.
My body, my body, my body, my body. Wherever I go, he goes.
Yeah, they would slow down these songs for these scary movies, right?
Yeah, here's the scariest part.
Actually, sounds a little like Leonard Cohen,
Right.
who I like, but it is in that vein of like he really lets it sink in. You know, I had a speak and spell when I was a kid, and those speak and spells when the batteries would die would do that, and it would freak me out
that's
because
awesome.
it would get partial. Like you'd be like spell butcher, and you would start to spell and it'd be like B-U-T-H, and it would freak you out. And W sounded like W. W. It wasn't even a real. So I just pressed that over and over again. W.
There was a couple things with Speak and Spell that you could make it say weird curse words or something, or like you could make it say boobs or.
It's a conduit to the damned. I'm telling you, it's a conduit to the damned. Speak and spell.
How did Speak and Spell get the right straw, though, in being fun and friendly in an E.T. movie? And now dolls, of course, are now all evil. Is there any good doll movie?
E.T. was great for product endorsement all around. Speak and Spell. Nothing
Reese's
was
Pieces,
damned
yeah,
except for
Did
the
they
government.
actually introduce Reese's Pieces in that? Or did they
Believe so.
exist before? I think that was the
they did.
I think that was
introduction.
kind of like the launch.
There
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
Ryan Gosling film where he had an inflatable doll, and that was kind of like a good doll. film.
Lars and the Real Girl.
yeah. My buddy.
My buddy.
This all happened before stalking laws. So it's very stalky, very rapey, that song.
Yeah.
My
My buddy.
Whether you like it or not, you're my buddy.
I'm going through your garbage, my buddy.
I know more about you than is comfortable.
You could save money if you got better light bulbs.
You should.
Why do you know this about me?
You should shred your mail.
My buddy. You are hardly my
My
buddy.
neighbor, my neighbor.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
The Leonard Cohen is a good
It's
call.
true.
Well, and I love Leonard Cohen. Don't get me wrong. I don't.
Oh, yeah.
He's
We won't tell him.
He's angry and old, and I could get shivved on the way to my car. I heard you made fun of my music tonight, Matt. Is this your last evening on Earth? then it's an 8-minute song of it.
Right.
Guy made fun of me tonight.
So I'm going to see this.
Really?
Well, just because I like The Conjuring.
The Conjuring.
Did you see the
I've ignored
is the best horror movie I've seen since The Strangers, which I'm a huge fan of. I think The Conjuring is the best one because it did all the fun stuff that horror movies don't do anymore, all the haunted house stuff and all the cool, and they really nailed the suspense and the creepiness of just an environment and being there. Like,
Well, it avoided a lot of the quote-unquote fun stuff, too. It's like it didn't have, like, the dumb characters or dopey horror. It was kind of sober, straight, and trying to scare you, and I appreciated that, too. I mean, I like to have fun at a horror movie where the Scream guys are running around and being all Jamie Kennedy. But this was, like, gothic feel and historical, and, you know, they really played it straight.
You don't get a lot of haunted house movies. I mean, what's the last, like, haunted house movie? And as a kid, like, if you saw a haunted house movie, like House on Haunted Hill or something, that was the best, because, like, everything's the enemy. It's like that room, that darkness, that, you know, it's like, you know, you're kind of trapped in it. I think.
Did you two see it in a theater or at home? Because Grandpa Caius does not go to the movies much anymore because of it's just a fucking scene.
Because of the kids?
The kids.
Because there's just
because your kids, I mean.
Yes.
The ones you have at home.
Yeah, he doesn't not go to the movies because of my kids.
Yeah, because
let's clarify that.
No, you go to the 10:30 screening, you think I'm avoiding this, and then comes like the five, the adults and the three kids with the thing they sit down.
And the baby.
Yeah,
so
baby,
I can only imagine how annoying audiences are today in scary movies where they're expected to jump and speak and scream at the screen and make noise.
Hey, I'll tell you, if you want to get over your phobia of this and realize that your theater is actually quite sane, what is that one in North Hollywood?
The
North Hollywood 6
Valley
or whatever.
6.
That's
Valley
where
6,
I think
$3.
we saw The
That's where we
Conjuring,
saw it.
and it was perfect.
Oh, that's a perfect place to see a horror movie.
Perfect,
It's haunted. That place is haunted.
It's haunted with people yelling at the screen.
It's a conduit to the damned, turns out.
That theater is a conduit to the
I
damned.
was trying to summon you to the seat, so I clapped, and these two creepy hands came out. You're right there.
No, but
And started texting.
because the preview for this movie shows that kind of undercover video of people in the theater shrieking and recoiling.
That's a
I'm
classic
like, oh, this fucking looks so annoying. This is the one thing you can show me that makes sure I will not go see your movie is a bunch of people grabbing each other and crawling over the seats.
That makes. I mean, that's
That
like
was fun.
that's like a full crowd that's like laughing in a movie. It's like it gets funnier, it gets scarier, it gets.
Please
whatever.
don't stay home is what they're really trying to say.
Yeah.
Please support the theaters, you know, or we're going away.
But I didn't think the story on this one looked too particularly clever.
Nah, I think they're phoning it in on this one. I think The Conjuring was super clever, and this is like, all right, make it for cheaper.
Maybe it's my OCD, but the one thing about this trailer that bothered me so much was that he goes, here's the doll, and he hands it to the wife, and it's a big doll, so it's maybe 3/4. It's very big. It's
With
bigger.
a face of Satan.
Face
really.
of Satan. It's really big. And she goes, oh, all right, because she's being a good sport. And she looks at her adorable dolls in this sweet little holder.
Yeah.
And she just kind of shoves it in there, and it's sticking out, and it doesn't fit, and it's bent. And I'm like,
And she
no.
says, "This will fit great."
This'll-
She
Oh,
fits
this
in-
is, I know
she fits in
exactly where I'll
perfect.
put it. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's sticking out, and it looks like it's going to fall, and it doesn't
And,
fit.
and of everything on that shelf, it's clearly the only one that's possessed by the devil. Like everything else is fluffy and yeah.
And even the other dolls are like, are you fucking kidding me? She's like big and awkward. They don't like being there with
And
her.
even when like the Annabelle doll was new, maybe it looked fine, but someone's receiving it as a gift with a burnt face and all cracked and straight, and you're like, oh, thank you. I mean, it's so unrealistic that anyone would appreciate receiving this.
As a wife, what you would do, and I'm sure
Wife
other
and
wives will
expectant
know
mother.
this. Well, I'll assume the expectant mother
Okay.
part. As a wife, when your husband gives you a really just, sad, desperate gift like that,
She's
you
looking
take
at you,
it
Paul.
and you look and you go, oh, thanks, honey. And you immediately put it somewhere where no one will see it. And you just kindly accept it and then put it behind the shelf.
And here we are in the garage, surrounded by all the shit I gave you.
That's a great premise for like a horror movie, is the ill thought out gift from your partner that was just clearly gotten from on the way home, and that's always cursed. So like the I got you a new iron or whatever, or I got you this or whatever. Yeah,
And all
something
those
from
gifts,
Walgreens.
all those gifts come together and create a
And they create a transformer, and we can't tell what the fuck's going on.
You can't tell what his head is or its feet.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
I'm sure I didn't give you those gifts, honey. I don't know what the fuck.
Does this actually answer where Annabelle came from, or is it just now there's a creepy doll?
Oh, yeah.
No, it does answer.
He just bought it for her, so no, we could go back further.
Because that's what I'm saying. Is there a sequel to this that I can look forward to?
Yes,
But
it does answer it.
The factory where the doll was made, one doll was made in a factory
and then it burned
fire.
down.
No, Matt, I
Everybody-
think there actually is an explanation in this movie because all the previews we've read said the home is invaded by satanic cultists.
Right.
And then that's when things go wrong.
Yeah.
No shit, right?
Yeah,
So-
right. Yeah.
Right.
Shortly after the satanic cultists arrive, everything just falls apart. No, but I guess they kill the satanic cultists, and then
blood gets on the doll.
yeah, so somebody bleeds into the doll, and the doll
So
gets
the doll
right.
gets some sort of AIDS or hepatitis or something, and then horror.
everything's
Before
fine.
The Conjuring, before Annabelle. there was satanic cult. Then the
Yeah,
fourth
exactly.
movie goes further
Yeah,
back.
Further back.
And then it's
How
in
did they come
then
together?
It's in the 50s,
Yeah.
and it's in the 30s.
It turns out these were the same satanic cultists that
Came over on the Mayflower.
came over on the Mayflower.
Exactly.
is
That's
what I
what a
was
lot
gonna
of.
say.
That's the movie I want to see. Is
No,
the
that
group-
invaded Sam Shepard's house,
Oh.
which was then the impetus for The Fugitive,
Oh, there you
Yes.
right? Isn't that the
Yes.
story?
Is that the story?
Yeah, the Dr. Sam Shepard, his wife was killed, and he claimed
Richard Kimball?
Richard Kimball. Yes, it's based on Sam Shepard.
Not playwright Sam Shepard.
No, it's a different Shepard. Maybe it's not Sam.
Is it
I
astronaut
feel a
Alan?
retraction.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
No, I feel a retraction
Wait,
coming on.
astronaut Alan Shepard is doing what?
Yeah.
He murdered his wife. Is all
You
I'm
mean
trying to say.
Alum Shepard.
Alan
Shepard.
Shepard. Right.
No, but the show The Fugitive
Yes.
is based on a true life situation where a doctor, I think his last name is Shepard, might not be Sam, claimed that some hippies broke into his home and killed his wife, and then he was accused of the murder.
A one-armed hippie?
A one-armed
Couldn't
hippie.
flash the peace sign?
I would have guessed it. I would have put $100 down that story would come up when we're talking about Gone Girl.
You lost.
All right, well, listen, you talked about this doll being a gift, so I want to talk about gifts. Oh, actually, but
A
before I even
gift
do
to
that,
cinema.
before I even do that, when we saw Don John recently, the movies that he takes Scarlett Johansson to is the Valley Plaza 6.
Yes, it's that lobby. It's cool.
But the thing is,
That's
much like when
fantastic.
you're showing down in front of the Grauman's Chinese Theater in a movie on Hollywood Boulevard, you have to populate it with all the freaks who are normally there for it to be authentic. The
They took
Valley
them out.
Plaza 6 had much
Less
more
Nicer.
high class.
Was everyone screaming
yeah,
at the
people.
screen?
The
Yeah.
human equivalent of Jabba the Hutt wasn't in the corner.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Like,
Exactly. It was charming folks.
Get him!
All right, but listen, in the trailer for
what could
Annabelle.
possibly go right? I did that
You warned us. You
Bring it
warned
back.
us.
Bring it back.
As we mentioned, the husband gives his pregnant wife the gift of this unsettling doll that they don't realize is obviously cursed.
Oh, Paul.
Now,
Paul, I'm sorry. That actually reminds me. I brought you something back from my trip to Mexico. I'd like you to have.
wait,
Hold on. a
wait,
second.
wait, you didn't have to do that.
Oh, it's Paul. It's not that I had to. Wanted. Wanted to.
Okay.
So,
Jeez.
I don't know if you all know this, if you bear with me. 2 years ago, this is 2 years ago when we first met here on air during the movie Showcast. So
10, 11, 12 was the
that's
first.
today. Yeah. So
Wow.
a bit of an anniversary for us. So I wanted to commemorate this very special moment with this gift.
All right.
So that's for you. And if you
very
look
nice.
inside, you'll notice that it's a femur bone
So it
from a
is.
sacrificial altar from the Mayan ruins.
Oh, wow.
Now, I thought that
that's
would be the
nice.
perfect gift to bring into the studio here, where we're often inviting unsuspecting guests.
Listen, the cake,
Yes, I'm sure it's perfectly harmless.
well, these cake blood stains on here, they definitely go with the red that we have going
yeah.
in
Sure.
the
That's true. That'll go good.
I think I'll just leave it here in the middle of the table where it can set the mood every time we do a show.
Oh, but you know what? Having that box there reminds me, too, that I have something for Adam.
Oh,
Adam,
for me?
Yes. Be careful with it.
Oh.
It's still fresh.
Oh,
I
what
found
is
this
this?
dead cat.
Oh, thank God
in
it's
our
not an Old Navy
neighborhood.
shirt.
No. It's not a shirt from Old Navy. I just put it in that bag.
It's a dead cat?
Yeah.
You remembered.
It's black.
It's a black cat? I have
Yes.
the perfect place to put it. And this will complete my set. Thank you very much, Karen.
Oh,
There's nothing weird about this.
I was hoping you already didn't have one, but you have a set, so that's good. So I'm glad that you don't feel that that's creepy in any way.
Oh, no. Oh, God, no. It means the most that there's no occasion. You just saw a dead cat and you thought of me.
Of course, who doesn't?
Well, I
bless you,
wasn't
Karen.
going to bring this up on air, but now the gifts are flying because it's kind of personal, so I wasn't going to do this. But Karen,
Yeah?
I have your anniversary gift.
Oh,
I'm so
better
glad to
late
be
than
here.
never. This is so
Fantastic.
exciting. What is it?
What could possibly go
It,
wrong?
oh my God! Is that a tombstone from Anton LaVey? Anton LaVey. Is that how you say
LaVey,
it?
absolutely.
Oh my
I stole it
gosh.
from a graveyard in San Francisco because I knew you liked some of his self-help quotes.
Oh, who doesn't? How can you not be inspired by quotes like, I break away from all conventions that do not lead to my earthly success and happiness? It's a real call to make the most of your life when you hear something like that. Having that tombstone there is definitely going to be a positive conduit to all those blessings. I'm so excited.
Actually, I think he was the founder of the Church of Satan, right?
Happy anniversary, honey.
Thank you, honey.
Yay!
It's so strange you guys got gifts because, as you know, I was just in Chicago. Karen,
What?
I brought home something for you, too.
Oh my
Wow.
God, deep dish pizza, right?
No,
What? Oh,
very
my-
close, very close.
Sweet
Here you
of
go.
All right, let's see.
You got a gift from my wife. That's not weird at all.
Yeah,
Oh my
no.
gosh, it's a handkerchief.
Wait, she gets 2 gifts.
It's well,
How
you
many
know.
gifts have I gotten?
Well, none so far, but
Okay.
that's because
Look, let's focus on my
Choice is
gift to
sweet.
Karen right
Look
now.
at this.
okay?
It's not innocuous. Look at it. It's just this normal little handkerchief. I'm going to put it on right away before I learn anything about its history. That way,
Okay, yeah,
I get
and
it right
it's
on my body.
I'll just give you a little backstory. It's Richard
Sure.
Speck's chloroform handkerchief.
Oh, that's perfect. It makes it fit even better knowing that it is nice and wet with all that chloroform.
Yeah,
Thank
look,
you.
wait, let's just say.
Wait, where'd you find it?
Oh, well, let's just say I have some friends in high places who know a few nurse murderers.
All right.
It's not going to be weird to have that in the house, is it?
Oh, not at all. No, it'll go right along with that tombstone. No problem.
Good.
Well, look, I want to act as if I've learned something from movies like Annabelle. So for our guest, we get something for the guest every week.
Oh, this is
that's
great.
sweet.
Yeah,
I wanted to avoid all those other items that might have curses on them.
Sure, that can
And,
happen.
I guess maybe.
I just ducked into the All-Star Sports in Burbank and picked you up a little something. There you go.
Oh, it's a Chicago Cubs hat, man. You know, I'm like you, Karen, and I
Yeah?
like inspirational quotes, and they don't get any more inspirational than we'll get them next year. Yeah.
Nothing
That's the
cursed about
attitude.
that.
Oh yeah, there's no way that this could be cursed. Bartman.
This is great.
You always have to look ahead, right? Oh, look at how pretty she looks in her Cubs hat.
There we go. Put it on Kristen Stewart in the studio.
It's not the first time that's been said.
Now
Put it
it's
on Kristen
cursed.
Stewart.
Yeah, exactly.
Now it's cursed.
Now
This was
the
great.
Cubbies
A
are
real
gonna
bonding
lose.
experience I think we've shared here. We should do gift exchanges more often. But let's check in next week and see if we're all still alive. Sure. In the meantime, we have another movie to preview. Lee?
Well, Paul, Monique stars in this sassy tale of urban female empowerment in Go On, Girl!
That couldn't be more wrong. This movie stars Ben Affleck and is about a man who may or may not have murdered his wife. It's called Gone Girl.
Oh, well, in that case, this is definitely not going to be the movie I think it is.
Right. In that case, Karen, help me with...
It's Goon Girl.
In Gone Girl, Ben Affleck is wanted for more than murdering your hopes for the new Batman. He's wanted for murdering his wife. The white, blonde girl in question is Die Another Day's Rosamund Pike.
Ripped from yesterday's headlines, this movie definitely has shades of the Lacey Peterson murder trial. Grieving husband accused of his wife's murder. They're both pretty, and it causes a media circus. Yet, oddly, nowhere in the trailer do the filmmakers indicate that this story is based on or inspired by true events. That's probably because Ben Affleck's involved. It's hard to believe any of this actually happened. Isn't that right, Argo?
So did Batman kill the Bond girl or not? As information comes out that makes the husband look increasingly guilty, the audience is left wondering who the murderer is. I think we've all seen enough Nancy Grace to know it's the hunky suburbanite.
Affleck looks to be doing what he's done in every movie for the last 6 years, winning you over again. But somehow, every time the credits roll in a Ben Affleck movie, he goes back to zero and has to prove himself all over to you. Hey, critics, cut the shit and start liking Ben Affleck.
Neil Patrick Harris breaks out of his traditional role as America's sweetheart, doing his best Anthony Perkins as Shifty McCreepy Stare, the guy who looks and acts like he did the crime. And from what we see in the trailer, his intentions might not be all that good.
So that's, coming along.
Naturally, because this is Hollywood, the police only suspect 2 white guys.
Oh, the movie also stars Tyler Perry, so guess what? He's a good actor.
What?
Mm-hmm. No matter how Brad Pitt or Jesse Eisenberg are before they star in a David Fincher movie, after the movie's over, you're a good actor. It's called the David Fincher constant.
Despite not being based on the real-life Lacey Peterson murder trial, it is based on a book that is also not based on the Lacey Peterson trial. And based on a book means...
It's a real movie.
Based on a fake dead body.
This movie looks so good, I want to read the book.
There you go. And how often can you say that to a movie guy?
Never.
Why read the book? 2 hours, I'm in and out, I see the movie.
Oh, I'm telling you, I couldn't wait to the 3rd, and I was thinking about this as I was driving. I saw an ad for it, and I just like, I should get the book and read it in like 2 days so I know what happens.
But this is the Lacey Peterson murder trial. How is that not the case, right?
Well, that's just the one we know about. There's millions of people who kill their wives every year that don't get the publicity. That
Millions?
The
Tell us more, Matt.
Millions.
Just, tune in to Nancy Grace for half an hour.
Happens all the time.
Well, I did read this book. and I think that the casting for this is wacko because I pictured like Paul Giamatti and maybe like a how they brought Tupac back for that.
Oh, a hologram.
A hologram of like a young Jessica Tandy.
You know, but then it couldn't be the hunky suburbanite who did it, because you always assume that it's the good-looking guy that's got everything going for him that must be the asshole.
Yeah.
Well,
I thought you were going to say you always assume it's the hologram that
Well, the
does the crime.
holograms do
I mean, you're going
crimes.
to blame it on the hologram.
Well, they
right?
can
'Cause
get
it's
into anywhere.
from the future. Yeah, they can
Yeah.
do anything.
Right?
I was going to say Gillian Flynn said that it was the author of the book was saying that someone put it to her, is this like the Peterson trial? And she said, well, she said they were handsome, so that's what brought on the media circus. But you say the characters in the book.
No. It is.
Handsome.
It is ripped off. I'm making light of it. It is. Well, you know, her background is that she was an Entertainment Weekly woman who got downsourced, and so she basically was a journalist who wrote movie reviews, and she very much gets.
Lacey Peterson?
No, not Lacey Peterson. Gillian Flynn, the woman.
Stay on track.
Determined to make this about.
But she is very much like, I don't think this is her best book. I just think this is the one that happened to fast her up to the top. But she is it is a very good. I don't want to talk much about it because I do think it's worth.
Now,
seeing, I think it's
I
gonna be
definitely
great.
is it because she's a good writer? Or is she? What would you compare her to? Like,
I don't think she's a great writer. She has a very good understanding of how to. I mean, she wrote for Entertainment Weekly.
How good could she be?
No, well, what I mean by that is, like, she certainly has a good grasp on can you get people to get the information that you want
Before they get off the toilet.
Exactly, and that's the kind of book it is. And all of her books are kind of the same. All of the books kind of time dash around. So it's basically like a really well told story, like a journalist, like it is like a Lacey Peterson trial unplaying. She's very good and very bright, I think, at how she tells it to you. So what it is that it's like a puzzle. That is, you're slowly getting more information, and then when it finally appears, you're like, fuck, it's been there the whole time.
Oh, that's cool. Like one of those
Boom.
puzzles you stare at, and then your eyes get all tired, and then you start to see the image.
It's a space shuttle.
Yeah.
Then the space shuttle.
It's an
riding
eagle with a
unicorn.
unicorn. Yeah, and a dolphin is fornicating.
This is one you can see a second time,
Dolphin
knowing
is
how it
fornicating. I
ends
heard
up.
that. That was nice.
Now he's not famous in the book, right? His character's not like a congressman or anything, right? He's just a guy, isn't he?
No, it's like a down and out. It starts in kind of like this. It's their anniversary, I think, is how the movie starts, and she's gone missing. And I mean, literally, this is why I think it's probably good a story. I mean, I don't know. I can't reflect on her actual marriage, but the main character in the book is about a woman who wrote for Entertainment Weekly who was downsized from her job.
Shut up.
So
Right,
it's
what you
her.
know.
It's her. That story, that idea of who this woman is who's been murdered is her.
Wow.
And
Murder
then-
what you know. as
and
they
he-
say.
What if I was killed?
That's how I
And then
see
that's-
myself.
And he had to move home to his hometown to be close to deal with some stuff. So both of them are like not living the life that they want. You kind of learn that it wasn't a happy marriage, which is why when she goes missing, what happened?
Now, I know you weren't serious about it, but I take slight umbrage with the fact that you pretended to say Ben Affleck was miscast, because one of the keys to this character is not being able to tell by looking at him whether he's innocent or guilty.
Right.
And Ben Affleck is great at looking like he's been caught between two emotions,
Yeah.
but can't express either of them.
Right. He's perfect. Yeah.
Constantly uncomfortable, like, hey, maybe
He probably doesn't know.
No,
you know,
exactly.
most of the time.
You know what's fun? Thinking about this role as an actor, if you know, just saying that this not exactly what this movie's about, but say you're an actor and you're supposed to not let anybody know that you did it, but then it gives you the ability while you're doing the scenes to sometimes really seem like you did it, then other times not seem like you did it. You have so much more to do, and I hope that Ben can enjoy that. You know what I mean? Because you can actually play both sides of that pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's exciting. That's really fun.
I think he'll enjoy it because when he looks at scripts like, Geely,
Oh, God.
and he gets this, he's like, oh, am I really given this? Thank the Lord, that I'm getting.
It really is a
Bond
stamp of approval, though, that David Fincher has cast him in one of his movies. I mean, Ben Affleck is officially. I mean, he didn't need to prove himself, but he's a good actor
Fincher
now.
must have seen Argo and went, "There we go,
Yeah.
okay." Because I saw Argo and I was like, "I like that guy."
Yeah.
But that is what Fincher did for Brad Pitt for me.
Oh yeah,
It
7.
wasn't until Fight Club then I was like, oh, I get to like Brad Pitt now.
Well, that's Fincher. I don't know if it. I think we're on the same page.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I still don't know. I think Fincher's just so fucking great.
He's
he
amazing.
can do no wrong.
But I'm on Brad Pitt. I'm on the Brad Pitt train now for whatever else he does because of that movie.
Yeah, we always say there's
I just the phrase
Brad train.
Choo
Brad
choo.
Pitt train made me think of a whole different thing. Like 500 women in like Kansas City standing outside like a bar, and he's just in there, and you get to go in for a stroke
And
for
ride
10
him.
minutes. That's the Brad Pitt train.
I'm in that line. I'm in that line.
Yeah, all right. But I agree. I think
Brad
he's,
Pitt train, Tom Cruise train,
Yep.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt
well,
train.
and he reminds. I will go so far as to say I think that this is going to be polarizing, I'm sure, but I think Brad Pitt is pushing towards what like Paul Newman became at one point. I do think he's
Yeah.
and I do like Brad Pitt quite a bit,
Yeah, I'm a
actually.
big
So
fan.
I'm 90% of the time I'm fucking around. It's usually I'm driving for I'm doing it for
Just as a preview,
Yeah.
Fury's coming out in a couple of weeks. Are you interested in seeing that at all?
I honestly don't know too much about it other than I saw a billboard and thought, because I thought Brad Pitt was fucking great in the Nazi Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, Inglourious Basterds.
Thank you, because Django Unchained is always in my head right now, which is also fucking
is
brilliant. That is also brilliant, but
that was Jamie Foxx, not Brad Pitt.
yes, exactly.
A lot of people confuse those. Yes,
That is one of those movies though that is on like Showtime, Epix. It's on all of the different movie channels, and I see like the same. You know how sometimes you think the world acts in a way that wants you to see a certain part of a movie like 50 times to the point that you're like, what is the message? And it's always that part where he's beating the shit out of the slave in the field after the fight, and he wants him to kill. I'm like, what is the message? I don't like this message. I'm just flipping channels, and such a dark part. Anyhow.
Yeah, Fury's a tank battalion movie.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. You just don't see a lot of.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a fun little.
What was that old submarine one?
U-571?
Yes.
McConaughey?
No, older.
Oh,
Red October? Crimson Tide?
Older.
No, the German one, right?
Oh, older?
Yes.
Das Boot.
Das Boot. That's it.
You sank my battleship.
No, that's by Harrisborough.
But that's what
that's
that's
come out
could be
the same
like.
week as
Das Boot,
Squeegee.
yes.
Well, it's always the movies that you think are least gonna blow you away that end up doing it. I don't know. I'm one of those guys who get bitten if people are like, "You have to see this,and then I
and you're like,
inevitably.
I guarantee I'm not going to like it. Watch.
I
Watch
hate
me
it
not like
already.
it.
I hate that I've been told to be here.
Yeah. I'm going to watch it, and I'm hating it every minute. Watch. Look at this. Look at my face.
Well, since we determined, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, since we determined that this is not the Lacey Peterson murder trial, but we had this discussion the other night. I'm always fascinated by people who think murder is the first option to a solution. Like the first solution to how do I get? I don't want to be married to this person anymore. There's a lot of things you can do before having to kill them.
Well, and the thing I always find funny is not only with this, but Investigation Discovery, which is completely addictive, and a lot of those are on Netflix right now. If you watch that, is that there is constantly a stream of hundreds of people who are like, murder's probably easy to get away with.
Well, according to Matt, millions of people murder their wives every day.
I'm just saying. I just just take
From
a look
what he's
around,
heard.
check in. Yeah, just from what I've heard.
saying.
It's one of those things.
Oh, we were discussing this movie last night, and there is a very big difference between that sort of crime of passion where somebody takes a swing at their wife, which of course you shouldn't do, but it would say a guy accidentally kills his wife in the
in an elevator,
heat of passion in an elevator, and gets a $100 fine or whatever, and but we said there is a huge difference between someone who accidentally kills someone close to them and someone who saws the arms off of a torso to make sure they fit in a bucket or something. Like there's a big difference between punch, oh holy shit, and this is taking a while. Just blood
And
spattering in your face.
There's a real in-between area where I accidentally hit you and you fell down and hit your head and sawing the body parts. There's that one where you have one leg and you go and you get a gun and then shoot her through the bathroom door. That's premeditated, but also sort of an accident.
No legs.
Oh,
no legs.
Yeah.
That takes a rare
so
man.
you're a
talking
torso and
about
you're
the
killing
runner,
people.
Yeah.
Just a torso.
He just was out to prove that a guy with no legs can do anything that a guy with 2 legs can do.
And the Special Olympics has not recognized his achievements.
I know. It's like, see, they are all equal. Everyone's equal. See, 'cause
Even
if you
we
can do that.
can go on a murder
So
spree.
much from Matt.
The phrase
today.
we use is handy capable.
That's right.
Especially when wielding a shotgun. Because it has a lot of kick. You only got blades for legs.
Yeah.
And, is he getting away with it? I forget. He's not, is he?
I think he
He
went
is?
to jail, but not for
Because
the full sentence.
I need to stick to my theory here. My theory, of course, is if you're famous, you get away with it. If you're not famous, you
he sort of got away with it, but I believe that he
No,
didn't
he did get away with it. I mean,
Yeah.
within reason. They said that he overreacted to the concept of what the threat was by using a gun.
Right.
That he went too far with what the idea of home security was, and But
I guess you could put it that way.
Because I mean,
he's famous. If he's a guy in my hometown, he's in jail.
Yeah.
Well, he got away with it the way OJ did. Won the criminal trial, lost the civil trial.
So that's a
remember OJ was found guilty in a civil trial.
Yeah.
Right.
So
the interesting thing about South Africa, is that where it took place? Unlike here, he's able to. I think he's going to prison for like 3 years, and that whole time is going to write the book, and then he can make all the profits off the book when he comes out.
Sure.
So unlike here, where you can't sell the book and your story,
can't do that.
See, that's when we, as a team, right now, vow to do something about it. We wait for him, and when he gets out, we take him. We take care of business.
Got to be easy to trip that guy.
Trip him.
You mean make the movie? You mean we make the movie on the book?
It won't take long to stick him in a bucket, so it should be fine.
But not
less limbs to cut off.
That's what I'm thinking.
Oh man.
Let's get on
it's a short-term solution, especially when he doesn't have those leg things on.
Let's get on to our more time here with our guest. Comic actor who's appeared on The Office, Key and Peele, and had a stint as a writer for Saturday Night Live, Matt Craig. We introduced him before, but this segment is about you.
Now,
what kind of stint?
To Matt Craig.
What exactly is a stint?
A stint was real brief. I got hired mid-season in the 2010, 2011, and I was basically supposed to be hired into the fall, but then Comcast bought him.
Oh, yeah?
So I was only there for half a season, second half of the season.
I really would love to know what that's like.
It's great. It is a whirlwind. It's everything that you've heard.
It's got to be so cool, right?
It was, and it's such a, there is this crazy thing of that you work all week on this thing, and there's slings and arrows to it, good and bad. Lots of, it's a gig. But it's amazing that moment when it's live and happening, and you're there and you're watching it, and you're realizing how many people are watching this moment and how quick it happens, and it's mesmerizing. And you're walking around and you're in mixed company with, when I was there, it was Elton John and Tina Fey, and all these different crazy people would come through, and you'd watch the Foo Fighters warm up with their families, and you'd be 10 feet away, and because
Foo families.
Yeah, Foo families. And because the show's been on the air for so long, and Lorne is so loyal to the people that he hires, that many of them don't appreciate these modern bands that they think are like, we've seen the Beatles, we've seen the Stones. So that even the Foo Fighters to them was like, who cares about the Foo Fighters? And I'm like, they're fucking Foo Fighters are right here in front of you. So it was mind-boggling. I mean, on that level, it just really is. But it is a bit of a, it is a pressure cooker, and it's real competitive, and there's good and bad to everything.
Did you get anything on air?
I did. I was brought in to write for Sudeikis.
Oh, wow.
And so
awesome.
he was at that point, it was further into his tenure there, and so I got to kind of jump onto a lot of the stuff that he was doing.
Very neat.
So
that's cool. I've got right. I mean, if you have to pick someone to write for, Jason Sudeikis is a pretty.
It was pretty great. Yeah, it was fun to jump in there and.
And do you collaborate with Jason at all on those? Is it more like does he weigh in or?
Well, it's more or less like a sounding board. You pitch ideas to him, like, what if you did this? What if you did this? What if you did this? He picks and chooses. If he has an idea, when I got there early on. Like some of the stuff he had already, like, I want to do an ESPN. Well, Forte was coming back, and he's like, I want to do the ESPN guys again, the Sports Center dudes. So some of it is like picked, and then you just get assigned. And then the way the show works is that each week, like there's 20. When I was there was like 26 writers, 4 or 5 that were in Weekend Update, 21 plus the cast. That's 10 to 12 people. You put all those people together, that ends up being about 40 people. You have to turn in 3 to 4 sketches by Wednesday. It ends up being 160 sketches.
Jesus.
Only 40 or 50 of these get read at the table, and then of those, only 12 to 16 get greenlit. Maybe 8 make it to the air. So it's really fucking hard to get a sketch on. So you want to look for those pairings sometimes of like, who do you work with? Who can you, it behooves you to find someone who has an idea that they like, or pitch an idea to them that they like, before you just write it.
Yeah.
Because each person, basically, when you break down that show, it's not as insane as you think it is. It's 100.
Do you think that's the best way to write and produce for that show? Because that's the formula I've heard, is that it's this huge mass of writing that gets whittled down, and it sounds like there's a lot of lobbying and politicking and aligning and alliances. I mean, is that you're a very experienced writer? Is that really the way to write a show?
Well,
like that?
I think that's how that show is written, and that's how that show is written now. And I don't think it used to be as. I mean, like, the truth is that when I was there, I felt like there were too many writers, and then when Comcast bought them, there were too many.
They
writers.
agreed with you.
So, within reason, I think there might be a better or way to do it, but
well, I'm asking based on your experience. Because you've written for
I
other
wouldn't-
things.
Oh yeah, but I wouldn't think that what the true answer to that
Yes.
is that people kind of misunderstand, I think, what Saturday Night Live really is. And Saturday Night Live is very much a comedy factory. It's a product. Lorne is putting something out with like a 10-year plan with everybody that's involved with it, sometimes longer.
Wow.
And so I think it's not so much, if you're asking me, is that the best way to write the funniest comedy show
Based on your experience,
that
yes.
is utilizing the best of the talents of the people that are there? No. But that's not exactly what they're trying to do.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense.
That was a good answer.
That was a good question.
Oh, yeah, Karen wanted to...
I wanted to make this very fun that you were here, so...
yeah, so we're going to break bread.
Oh, great.
I ran out and I got us all something.
Oh, sweet. Look at this.
Holy...
So I got us all some Ghostbuster donuts.
Oh,
I couldn't get
sweet.
Mr.
Look
Stay
at those
Puft. They only
suckers.
had the regular. Here, let me show the camera.
Is these the ones with marshmallow in the middle?
Yes.
Oh, that's the best thing ever.
Holy
You go to the YouTube channel. Karen is showing the donuts to the camera
Yes,
as
Krispy
we
Kreme.
speak.
In celebration of the 30th anniversary of Ghostbusters.
Here's
Where
some
are you?
napkins. Everybody take a
I wanna
donut,
eat
please.
one.
Absolutely, everybody
And
take
here's-
one.
Here you go. I think there's two there.
I finished my water.
fancy
Oh, well.
paperware.
While we're doing this, I want to ask a question about Saturday Night Live. I mean, we all grew up. This is thank you, Karen.
Sure, enjoy.
You know, we all grew
Karen,
up.
These are amazing.
I gotta take a picture with this.
I gotta
Yes.
try one of these.
Enjoy.
How long did it take you to make these, Karen?
Oh, it took me. Well, I went there last night.
Look how cool these
and
are.
they were sold out. So it took me going all the way back a second day.
This is going to sound like I'm being an ass, but I'm not. I'm so thrilled that they're not stuffed with anything.
I think there's
They
marshmallow.
are.
going, there's
Bite further.
it's the Stay Puft marshmallow.
Now you have to eat your words.
Literally.
I mean, there is no
there is,
comparison to
I'm so glad
how
that there's
Saturday Night
marshmallow in
Live,
there.
That's adorable. Thank you, Matt.
you know, what took place in our youth, and of course is still out there. There's no comparison to that. There's nothing you could grow up with that you could now still be a part of.
You just hit it on the head.
Yeah. So how
SNL
special is that?
SNL is basically, when I was there, SNL is basically an opportunity for Lorne, at this point, to define the sense of humor for a whole new generation of people.
Absolutely.
And then lock into them through their, literally, I mean, think about it. Everybody, you watch SNL from 10, 11, 12 till 16. The minute you get a license, you leave. You don't watch SNL anymore. You go to college,
True.
you maybe watch it.
Oh my God, I used to tape it in college. I was such a nerd.
But when you were like
Tape
10 to
record it?
16, that's
Oh,
when
that's
you're
a
like,
tape
this
player.
is comedy, this is what it is. And then you continue to watch those people's movies, their TV shows, their stand-up, their books, and he owns a lot of that along the way.
right.
He Broadway
Brilliant.
video, he pushes people into TV. He's the person who's behind.
Late
So,
Night with Seth Meyers,
And
stuff like that.
bringing up
Conan.
that point,
so it's,
Did
it's
you-
a machine.
did you find it was challenging to write for it when you did? Because I found that I was into it just about to the time when everyone I knew was on it. And it was weird because even though I liked Tina Fey and I knew her and this and that, I just didn't want to watch it anymore. And so you got into it when you probably were no longer watching it anymore. Is that
Yeah,
true?
that is kind of
That's
true, yeah.
tricky, right?
Yeah, and you go back and you have to kind of jump in, and that's what I mean. Like, they definitely want to have the best and the brightest and cutting edge ideas, but that doesn't necessarily always mean that's what gets onto the show. And it is a lot of politics, and then you're constantly catering to a guest host who, depending on who you get, can be great or not so great. If you went from week to week and you got like an Ed Helms or somebody who's a little bit more versatile, or a Tom Hanks who's a little bit more willing to make fun of themselves, that's great. You get either of the Mannings or any.
Really?
Right.
Really?
I mean, like
Anytime
well,
you get
they're
sports
fun, but
people.
they're not. There's time. There's a natural rhythm and a timing to the things that you're like. Carmelo Anthony, when he was having his great season, wanted to be on the show, and we brought him in, and it was literally like we should have just brought in a Carmelo Anthony like
Cardboard cutout of Chris.
because it was basically the same.
Wow.
And you're like writing lines to try and get him in there.
Just so
and
you know,
it's
be
like,
careful. Everybody's listening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes, they're all going to come
Was
back
there a
at you.
familiar face there at all? Like when you
Well,
arrived on set,
Tina,
or was
right?
the whole?
You know
Yeah,
her?
Jason.
Let
and
me ask you more questions while you
Seth?
put the
I
donut.
know, I
in
got
your
to
mouth.
keep eating. There was a lot of us on the writing staff that I knew. Heather Campbell was there when I was there, and Tom Flanagan.
Oh, that's when Tom was on there.
Yeah, and I met Michael Bryan was there at the same time. Sudeikis.
So that's pretty cool.
Shelley Gossman. Yeah, I mean, it was like
you can't
there
get a
was
job out
community.
here on a TV show and then walk in and go, "Hey, I know 4 of these people."
Right.
I mean, that's pretty cool too.
Oh yeah, and it was like family, and you do kind of get pulled in, and yeah, I mean, and there was thrilling moments. I mean, to be quite honest, I was very disappointed I got let go. I was looking forward to that next year.
Yeah.
And I would have been very, very, I think, very good at that job. And I was doing very well at it. It was one of those things that I was like, man, there's so much that I still had wanted to do there. But that being said, I think one more year probably I would have been like, great.
Cured you of that.
Yeah, this was a very fun opportunity, and I'm happy to have done it.
Well, you stuck around long enough to get Emmy-nominated.
I did, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where your
Take
Emmy
that
came
with you
from.
wherever you
Yeah.
go.
For the Tina Fey. That was Tina Fey's episode.
All right, well, let me ask you the question I ask every guest on our show. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, good one.
And don't let the Ghostbuster donuts have any influence on
And
you.
you could say today your favorite movie
No,
is
it's
one
funny
thing or
'cause
another.
I do have like 5 movies, and they vacillate. But and ironically, almost all of them are prison movies. But my number one is probably Cool Hand Luke.
Ah. Now, what's the appeal? Because I
Cool Hand
finally saw it all the way through, and maybe it's something I should have seen at a different. I mean, I got it. I got the appeal. I just burped right in the microphone. I apologize.
The microphone just melted.
But I just saw it at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
My buddy.
But sometimes I wonder what the appeal is because I have a feeling it's different for a lot of people. You know,
I definitely. I saw it at a good time. Like to me, Cool Hand Luke is like Astral Weeks, which is one of my favorite albums. Like I watched it when I was younger, and it just affected me at the time. I liked it for multiple reasons. I found it to have like compartmentally, it has like brilliant little moments inside, which is like one of my favorite things about a lot of my favorite films. And then I've seen it again since, and as you grow, it grows with you. I feel like it's classic. I feel like the story is, it's reflective of any kind of plight of the men. I mean, it's clearly got a lot of Christ kind of things in there, but
yeah,
it's not
the whole song. I think
it's not horribly dated either, is it?
No, that's the
Like
thing
the
that
way
I think
it's
is. I
made,
mean,
yeah.
with the aside of the concept of like going out on chain gangs and like cleaning up roads, which still happens in some rural areas, but you know, it's about a guy who comes home who's kind of fucked up from the war and fights the man and gets persecuted for it. And
But there are other movies that look way more 60s.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, and that movie, that's
Totally.
what I love about it. That you know, yeah. I can understand why. To me, it's not up there in that like but to me, it's because it's so approachable, and it's. I do think George Kennedy is amazing in that film.
We had Paul Valancourt in here. His favorite movie of all time, Hellboy. There's no judgment here.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah. But I just wrote this article about Gene Hackman for the website.
Yeah.
Because he's one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah.
And I called him the co-president of the Making It Look Easy Club
Yeah.
with Paul Newman. Those
Yes.
two guys just make it look so easy.
They
You go,
do.
"Well, I'm working, but maybe that's the problem.
Yeah.
These guys aren't even working.
Well, and you know, here's a funny little tidbit about this is that Charlie Tyner is what's the name of he's the shitty fucking sheriff in that
Heat of
not
the
the
Night?
failure to communicate, but he's the guy who does Boggs. I think his name's Boggs in the film. Anyhow, he's the old guy. He was also the minister.
See the redneck in Live and Let Die?
minister in
No, I don't
Harold
know
and Maude. You would know him. He's like this character actor.
yeah. Okay.
And when I first moved to California, when I moved over to Sherman Oaks, I was on this. I lived in a place called Horse Heights Estates, and this guy comes walking by, and I'm like,
"Oh, shut up!
You're Charlie Tyner," and he's like, he's clearly like a really old man. He's like 90s old. He's stooped over, but he's same hook nose and everything. And I had a conversation with him, and he was like, "That film was so much fun to make. Oh, it was just so great." And so I had this moment with it too that I think, which made me rewatch it again, kind of fall in love with it, kind of see like, oh man, this. Anyhow,
That's really cool.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
Definitely. When I was watching it, I was like, I mean, it's one of those movies that almost kind of doesn't have a plot, and I can say that now because movies now are so like hit those beats and move it forward, and everything must add up to another thing. Whereas in the 60s and 70s, movies would just kind of be a little bit of life for a little bit, and you know.
And if not everything was answered, we didn't have an origin story.
Exactly. What was the origin story of Paul Newman in?
There wasn't a conclusion
He
story.
was in the Korean War, right?
That's true.
They need to go back and show
do a
him in
movie
the
about
Korean
that.
Where's that movie? Let's see it.
But the extra added value plus of that is just Paul Newman. That's just the carved from whatever that Hollywood stone is that makes those images of Bogart or whatever. I mean, he's cut from that Hollywood cloth that stone,
and he never lost it.
No,
the '80s he was great. Absence of Malice, The Verdict, Color of Money, he won his Oscar. Yeah. The '90s he was great. Nobody's Fool. And then 2000, Road to Perdition. I mean, he was always great.
Hudsucker Proxy. Don't forget
Proxy.
Hudsucker Proxy.
He was the voice of one of the cars, wasn't he?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That was his last and most financially successful film.
That's
true. Yeah. So, it went up big. That's a good movie to go out of.
Sometimes I'll ask guests this. I'm always fascinated by it. What is a movie you only know because cable would not stop showing it? So, like back in the days, I don't know how they programmed it, but HBO would show the same movie every day.
Six-pack.
Oh.
Six-pack, right?
Six-pack.
I only know Kenny Rogers' Six-pack exists because HBO refused to stop showing it every time I turned on HBO for the 80s.
Do you remember Hot Dog, the movie?
Yeah.
That was the one that I was like...
Tweed?
Skiing.
I had a similar moment with that movie that I'm having with Django Unchained, where that moment was like, I
All
want
the
you to
whipping?
ski down
Yeah.
this mountain.
Oh. Yeah. What does that mean?
It's like, I want you to ski down this mountain, not on the right side, not on the left side, but right down the middle. And he looks at him and goes, I want you to kiss my ass, not on the right side, not on the left side. That's from Hot Dog, right in the middle. And every time I would turn it on, I would be like, what is he telling me?
My roommate's uncle is a very famous editor in Hollywood. He edited, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, Avatar? Anyway.
What could possibly go right?
I was waiting for that.
That's the worst name drop ever, by the way, Adam. Huh? Worst name drop ever. Roommate's uncle.
Hey, look, I take my connections where I can get them.
You get there how you can get
No, you should actually name him instead of just giving him like the association.
It's even better that
That's
way.
true. Stephen
guy I know.
But I can just say
on my street.
Hey, did you know Stephen Rivkin edited Hot Dog the movie?
And I would go, what? Who's that?
Okay.
Oh, you mean your uncle's brother's friend?
Look, I've got one name I can drop.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
That time I didn't talk to Johnny Depp at that party.
So let's get on to another big part of our show that we like to call...
What did you see this week?
Wait for it.
What did you see this week? Anybody?
I saw, finally, the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh!
Yes, and?
Gotta watch it twice.
Fell asleep both times I watched it.
Oh.
I was
You
sorely
should try watching
disappointed.
it sitting up.
But that's like a fast-paced Wes Anderson movie.
I was so thrilled because I was home Friday night and Saturday night. I'm like, oh my gosh, I get to do this, and I'm gonna focus. I'm turn off the phone. I'm gonna sit down, and I am ready for Wes Anderson. And honestly, like 20 minutes into it, I am struggling.
I fell asleep in the theater to that film.
Wow.
For me, it just wasn't as Wesy Anderson as I wanted it
Well,
to be.
and I feel like it's
not Wesy enough.
From the moment it started, I was like, "Oh, this is beautiful and lilting, and it's such a lovely."
It just made you. You know what? I think I have a theory that Wes Anderson movies are like a comforter that you put on and you know it's going to be just lovely and comfortable. And it was too comfortable for you guys.
Yeah.
It might have been.
Put you to sleep.
Those are comfort movies. Yeah, you can fall asleep.
But that is, for the record, I don't know if you woke, because I obviously had to wake up near the end of it. Like,
Yeah.
and I literally had
To
that
drive
experience
home.
where I fell asleep in one movie and woke up and was like, who the fuck are these new people? I was like, how long has Harvey Keitel been in this, and how long have I been asleep?
Yeah, that threw me off. I
was like, who are these people?
One
It's
of
like
the
a whole new
things-
cast. I was like, did I sleep through
It's
this?
like-
And they're showing...
It's like when you fall asleep right at sundown, so it's daytime, and then when you wake up, you're like, what day is
What is it? Did I sleep? Do I have a beard? Do I have a beard?
Well, the thing about Wes Anderson movies is I think you've got to dial into them like immediately, right? And I just couldn't get dialed into it right off the bat, and so I struggled to
I
get
got
into
home,
it.
I lie down, I closed my eyes, I turned it on, it just didn't go well.
I mean, the only line that I remember and enjoy, he's like, I sincerely want you to finish that, but I'm only running away because the alarm is sounding. But there's a lot of like clever little dialogue and exchanges.
See, I would
that
think
just,
you would be pre-dialed into Wes Anderson movies because they all have the same tone, kind of.
I really was just, and I gave it a second shot. I'm like, okay, I was obviously just tired because it was a long week, so I'm going to sit down and watch it again because I got it on demand, so I got a whole 2-day rental.
2 days.
Oh, and that's the other thing
Rewind.
that kind of, the first time I watched it, I had to rewind it because he changes the aspect ratio based on what part of the story he's telling.
Oh, yeah. It goes square to 16:9.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, wait, is that my TV or did I do something wrong? And I had to go back like 2 or 3 times to realize, oh, no, that's thematic.
Did you do that with the artist?
As it's widening,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God, what a
And you get
beautiful
real
idea.
comfortable.
Yeah.
So nice.
So that's what I
What
saw.
the hell? Who are you guys? What are you doing in this movie?
That
Did you wake up to?
But Jeff Goldblum was wonderful and
That's
funny,
great,
and he was
yeah.
great. And Harvey Keitel was curious, and I loved
Defoe, William Defoe.
William Defoe.
He's in it
Oh,
at
yeah.
one point.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like I needed to watch it again because that is the most complex Wes Anderson movie plot-wise. I mean, maybe it didn't really add up to that much craziness, but it's just a lot of stuff happens. You know, people come in from this angle and that angle, even though I think it's towards a pretty simple goal, if I remember
F.
correctly.
Murray Abraham.
Well, if you don't like him, that's fine.
But where's he? Honestly,
F you.
Where's he been?
Oh, yeah.
Right, ever since Amadeus, this guy's been nowhere.
He did An Innocent Man with Tom Selleck.
And talk about, talk about a guy who makes it look easy. I just love watching F. Murray Abraham.
He was great in that in Louis. Did you see his appearance in Louis?
No.
He was on-
Oh yes, he was the father. He played. He talked about sticking his finger up a man's ass or something.
Something like that.
He was inside Llewyn Davis.
He's been living off of residuals
Well, who
from
noticed
an
anybody in
animated
that movie?
Amadeus in Germany. It's on his like 14th or 15th season.
The Vienna-
Amadeus is he's like a wizard and he goes and fights people, but and
He
F.
was
Murray.
The Vienna residuals.
Yeah.
He was in Last Action Hero. Does anybody remember that?
You're making my point.
Okay.
I saw Jimmy, All Is By My Side.
What?
Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, the Jimi Hendrix.
Yes,
always
I
by
saw
my
that
side.
too.
Andre Benjamin.
Is it all
Oh,
or
sweet.
always by my side?
Jimmy.
All is by
All
my
is
side.
by my side.
All
He
is.
got me as what there's some
That's a
60s
terrible
bullshit.
title.
I thought it was called always by.
I
my
did-
side.
Shouldn't it be called Purple Haze or something?
Right?
Yeah.
Well,
It shows an interesting part. It's not the origin story.
How did
Because
he come
it-
to be?
It covers like when he's in England, like when he gets pulled from New York and he's in England for a while before he strikes it huge, and like it ends where he's gonna go play Monterey. So it's a
really?
weird part of his world, but it's another one of those movies where we get to see how much that guy we really love is a huge asshole.
and
Jimmy's an asshole.
They all are.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't-
And-
you make a musical biopic, you are dooming that person in history now in this film for the world to see how much of a dick.
And
they are.
not only how he hits women and he abuses drugs and stuff, which we sort of knew about that, but it also
His
shows
death was
how
a clue.
he just really didn't participate in trying to be famous and awesome, and how the way they presented it, he just sort of kept getting pushed into the right exact place, and then when he was there, someone said, go wear this, and he
you
went,
then,
okay,
man.
and then they said, go over here, we'll give you all the money you need to get to there, and he's like, all right.
Yeah.
He just, it was so
passive.
annoying.
He was so passive.
You
It
know
was
how we
annoying.
work really hard to make something happen? Yeah.
I don't know if we're as good at podcasting as he is at the guitar, though. He's pretty good at that guitar. You seen it?
Yes, but
Pretty good.
okay. I guess we
I
shouldn't
know.
have any success then because we are.
That's exactly my point. Thank you. No, I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
I'm like,
I know.
what are you
No, I'm
saying?
just saying, like,
I'm saying we work really hard to try to accomplish a goal. He just was there.
Who did we have this
But
conversation
He
about?
did the same thing with his romantic life too. It's like, hey,
Yeah,
let's
that
have sex.
too.
Babe, all right. 'cause-
And that had nothing to do with guitar playing.
So he was having affairs and shit because he's not
He wouldn't stick up for
having
anything.
He was just such a paper plate. It was like I couldn't handle him.
He wouldn't take a stand on anything. There was a very simple moment when he was really into this girl and he was really with her, and the girl literally gets up to go take care of something for him. And while that nice girl is gone, who is lovely and wonderful and he loves her, this other slutty girl comes in and gets in her seat and just starts hitting on him really hard. So the lovely girl, who we thought they were going to be together, comes back and looks and is like, oh, that's weird. Well, I want to sit back in my seat. Hey, can you move over? I want my seat back. And the slutty girl's like, fuck you, I'm not moving. So what does he do? Nothing!
three-way. Oh,
He doesn't even do that. I wish he would.
Yeah.
He does nothing. He doesn't say, oh, you know what? Why don't you sit on this side of me? He just kind of was like, doesn't hear her or something.
Yeah, he gets to not be a dick by not saying or doing anything.
Anything.
But that doesn't pass. You're a dick.
Yeah, so
So-
I
Don't-
got about
if you don't do anything, you're never wrong.
Yeah, maybe that was what he was thinking.
That's what
I
Jimmy's
think that's
doing.
my favorite Jimi Hendrix song, actually.
Yeah.
Right?
If you don't do anything, bing, 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 bing. Was that what it sounded like?
I think that bing, 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 bing.
I also saw Walk 'Em on the Tombstones. I'll just briefly say,
Oh.
too much figuring, not enough Liam Neeson kicking ass.
A lot of figuring.
The Taken 3 trailers come out. That's what we want to see.
No figuring going on there.
Yeah.
No figure.
Yeah, not as strong as some of Scott Frank's other screenplays he wrote, Out of Sight and Get Shorty, but this one was not quite as sharp. A great book,
Yeah.
from what I'm told. I'm a movie guy. But so here's hoping Gone Girl is a better way to go. But I can't get out of What You See This Week without saying I saw what is easily one of the best films of the year. A movie called Whiplash, coming out with Miles Teller, who is in my Could Give a Fuck About file. From 21 and Over and That Awkward Moment or whatever, don't care.
Oh, God.
He's great in this as a young drummer in a jazz ensemble at the Schaefer Conservatory in New York. I don't know if it's a real place or whatever, but seemed legit. And J.K. Simmons, who you want to be great in everything, is finally given a big role to be great for a whole movie. He is the super intense Arlie Ermy in Full Metal Jacket-ish jazz ensemble conductor and mentor.
Parker!
Oh, wow.
And he's great. Yeah, Parker! And the two of them just have at for, sparring it out for whatever it takes for the young drummer to impress him and for him to whip a jazz ensemble into shape that goes to competitions. And I won't tell you anything else, except those two performances carry the day. The dialogue is outstanding and whip smart and sharp and crazy. And, hilarious at times too, because he's such a prick, the band conductor.
Yeah.
And it's made really well from the director of the Last Exorcism 2 or something.
What?
And now this is his second movie, and it's great. So that will be rolling out slowly. Go and see it. Highly recommend.
Oh,
and
great.
as a superhero fan, that's good news because Miles Teller is Mr. Fantastic, I believe, next summer, right?
Which if I look at that movie, I do not see it. So I'd be willing to check it out now.
Yeah,
because he's won me over with this.
You know what also isn't a good sign? They didn't show any Fantastic Four footage at Comic-Con a couple months ago, and the movie's done and shot.
Yeah,
it's a bad sign. Not to skip on to superheroes.
But you saw something that has to do
I
with
did. I
superheroes.
watched Batman: Mask of the Phantasm on recommendations from many different people.
That is the animated feature film that came out after Burton's movie, after
Burton's, but before.
I think in conjunction with the first season of the animated show,
exactly,
because it's the
took
same
off,
animation
yes.
style. And some people say that is their favorite Batman movie.
Well, you know what? It was a palpably different. I'd seen some of the episodes, but this one was, because it was longer. It was the first turn of Batman being like kind of a badass, in my opinion. I had a friend the other day who was saying that his son was running around the house wearing a Batman cape, and I was like, "How's your son wearing a Batman cape?" There was nothing that I can show him anymore. The Batman all of a sudden, right around that George Clooney time, transversed into this thing that is like this much darker thing, and. We give a lot of credit to, why am I blanking on his name? Did the last three Batman?
Nolan.
Thank you, Christopher Nolan. We give him all this credit for being redefining this darker kind of edgier, and it wasn't. It was this animated world that kind of took it. It's Batman's a badass. He punches people if they're in his way, and he knocks the door down on top of them, and then he takes an extra step to step the door on their face. He's a little bit more of a menacing guy. To cut back to those of us that have children, he said that he let his son watch the original Batman. That he bought it on box set and watch the original Batman because it's fucking harmless. It's like pow, zap, ping, and it is.
You mean the TV show or Tim Burton?
The TV show. When you were talking about it earlier, I was like, it's so he's like it's kid friendly. That's why his son can play Batman because I'm like, how do you? I had that moment where I judged him where I was like, you're letting your son watch Christopher Nolan movie?
Yeah.
How is your son? Anyhow.
Also, I think ideal. Batman and Robin, the George Clooney one, I think is ideal for kids. Also, it wasn't good for adults in '98 or whatever, but '96. But
for kids.
For kids.
Well, when I show my kids Nemo, I skip that first chapter where the mother has an untimely passing. And I do the same thing with Batman and Robin and my kids. I just skip the whole movie.
No, that's an interesting.
It's as if I have kids. All right, well, let's get on to... did anybody see anything else?
I saw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that's all I need to say about that.
Alrighty then.
On a bet.
That's all it earns.
On a bet, yeah.
Let's move on to a little something we call...
Said 5. What? Yeah, 5. Question for other guests.
5 questions for other guests.
You hear
Now,
that
these are
song?
questions that we have compiled for other guests who aren't here. So, Matt Craig, we're going to put them to you.
What could go right?
First question, Matt, why did you decide to storm the White House, and where do you plan on storming next in your storming?
Yeah, well, that's a lot of people don't know that the reason why I stormed the White House was to bring back the concept of storming as a traveling Like, honey, I'm gonna go storm to the grocery store, then I'm gonna storm to the hardware store, and then I'm gonna storm home. It's just an aggressive walk, right? So I just wanted to bring it back. That was the main reason why I stormed it.
You gotta hashtag it or it won't come back.
Like,
Now it's a thing, right?
I'm gonna go get a drink refill. I'm gonna storm for it. You want?
I thought
You
it was
need
really
anything
smart that you stormed the White House because I think if you stormed like a ball game, they would just not air it.
Yeah. Yeah,
They'd be like, is he
they'd be like,
streaking
this
or
guy's really,
storming?
he's just a big fan. And then
Yeah.
when you get there, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
They
You
would
need
watch
to
the
get the
news that
attention.
night, see an unfettered White House, and go, "Well, it seems storming is once again,
Yeah,
not
finally.
coming back to the United States."
Sweetie, what are you doing? I'm storming around the block this morning.
It is back.
I got a new Fitbit. It tells me how much storming I've done.
Storming I've been doing.
Oh, I got 8 hours of sleep, and I apparently walked 44 miles. I stormed 44 miles today, honey.
I like that you've popularized storming short distances too. Some
Oh,
people
yeah.
you have to go a whole White House lawn.
Yeah.
I'm just going to storm to the kitchen.
No, you know, it's just how you walk. It's like a hub. It's like a trot or a gallop. It's right in there. It's like trot, gallop, storm. And then it's full out run. No, I didn't like run to the White House. I stormed it.
This
like
might
a
explain
determined
why
walk.
my whole barging campaign isn't taking
Yeah,
off.
your barging campaign is way behind.
Kids love the storming. I barge, but
Barging is so slow, though.
Yeah.
By the time that I stormed the White House
Yeah.
and got almost to the door and able to kill the president, you were just barging your way through the gates. It was
Same
ridiculous.
strength, but yes, much slower.
You had barged 10 feet by the time I was in the prison. Like that fast.
It is an antiquated.
Next, I'm planning on storming this Krispy Kreme place because, come on.
Right?
These are off the charts.
These donuts are incredible. Now, Matt.
Yes.
Now that Ebola has come to America, what do you predict will be America's next top virus?
Oh. Cat scratch fever.
The song or the fever?
Both. I think an outbreak will be caused by listening to the song. Ebola, there's only one, though, right? It's in Dallas?
Yeah, there's one so
known
far.
virus. So the next virus then would have to be, I mean, if Ebola's here.
What could be next? It could.
I think the next virus is going to be the thing that, like, allows us to breathe Ebola. Like, I think it's just, this is the turning point.
It's a competitor virus.
Well, we'll adapt to it, right? And it'll be it's like the Sneetches. Like, some of us will be immune to it. Some of us won't be immune to it.
So we'll get a star in our belly.
That's exactly right. And the ones with the stars on ours,
We'll be.
they're immune.
We're immune. No
And
star
it
upon
has nothing
ours.
to do with physical health. It just
Okay.
has to do with outward appearance.
You
That's
could
where we're heading, I think.
I think we're headed there anyway. with
That's
the
where
selfie
Ebola is
generation.
taking us. Yeah.
Superficial virus, are you saying?
Yeah, it's like it's going to pick and choose based on.
You did say Sneetches.
Yeah. Oh,
The
yeah.
star-bellied
Star-bellied
okay.
Sneetches with stars upon theirs.
All right, now, Matt, now that you've been born to the daughter of one of America's top political dynasties, the question on everyone's mind is, will you be running for office in 2052?
By then, based on the previous question, there will really only be like 10 or 12 of us left.
It would be pretty easy to capture that whole
Yeah,
corner,
and-
yeah.
That's some competitive voting.
I haven't looked at these
Right.
questions. I just want to make sure I think I know who I am.
Yes. Well, the Clinton family has a long
Clinton, okay,
history
yeah.
of.
Did she have her child?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you're the daughter, so that's important because it would be a woman for president.
You're only 2 weeks old now, but the question on everybody's mind:
Are you gonna run?
running for office?
Well, when did this happen, though, that there was this idea that, like, why do we even, like, I know there was a talk of Jeb Bush, but why are there, like, family dynasties when it comes to something
it's
that's
'cause-
elected?
I think it's. I know, right? It shouldn't have to. It's not like we're going for queen or something.
Yeah.
It should be based on
It's
merit.
really
and-
bizarre. I mean, like,
Are
you
you going to break that tradition?
I am going to break it because I am going to go. By that point, I'll be on my 9th marriage.
Right?
3 same-sex.
And you'll be
6
DJing in Vegas.
Yeah, I'll be living it up.
Totally.
I think I'm gonna bust out. I'm gonna be everyone's gonna say, like, that's Bill's side of the family.
Too much dirt to run at that point.
Yeah, it's Billy's side.
Awesome.
I also will probably be his rough height and weight back in early, like when he was governor of Arkansas. Not now, when he looks a little bit like someone needs to give him a
Hot
sandwich.
Clinton.
Yeah, hot Clinton, chubby Billy when he was out. I have an actual campaign button from 1991, but for prior to 92 when he won. Remember when he played saxophone on Arsenio Hall show, Let the Dogs Out. But so the button has him on the left hand side of it playing a saxophone, and this is prior, obviously, to all the Monica Lewinsky thing. And on the right it says "Blow, Bill, Blow."
Oh, that's fantastic.
So I'm gonna just keep that, like "Blow, Bill, Blow."
Someone took that as orders.
Yeah, and she was like, "I will blow, Bill, blow. I will."
Amazing.
I actually have a question, somewhat related to the Ebola. If I pick it, will it indeed get infected?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, it depends. on where you are.
Oh, okay.
If you're inside, it depends on the environment around you. But yeah, if you pick,
I wash my hands a lot, so hopefully that helps.
Well, picking is a lot like barging.
It's a slow gouging process.
Yeah, like you're like kind of like working at it. Yeah. If you stormed it, which the equivalent of picking in the storming world would be like jab, right? If I jab it, will it get infected? No. In and out, nice and clean. You barge into something, you're there longer.
Yeah. Picking doesn't help you any.
Picking doesn't. Yeah.
Pardon me, I got to go jab my nose.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to go storm my nostrils.
Storm my nostrils.
Final question. Now that you've had a big celebrity wedding in Venice, who do you regret never having had sex with?
Oh.
Present company excluded. That would be awkward.
I had a guest starring role. I played a Cabana Boy in an early Fantasy Island episode. And Hervé Villachez. And I had an opportunity, and it just didn't work out. It didn't pan out.
You had the opportunity.
Kind of a looker.
Oh, I had
presented.
Yeah, I mean, like he.
He's kind of a looker in that you had to look down.
Yeah. He was, we had a short affair. Is that
blow her?
What could possibly go right?
What could possibly? Wait a minute. Who had to? I'm so out of touch. Obviously,
you're George Clooney in that question.
Oh, George Clooney fucking got married in Venice. Okay, yeah, that's right.
Didn't you think Venice, California?
Hey, wait, I think I figured out the problem with this bit, Paul.
Yeah. Well, and I have to admit that I saw
just at the very end. Go, George Clooney.
Am I crazy to think that George Clooney has gotten married like 10 times in the last 10 years?
It
like he
seems
gets
like
married
Feels
a lot.
like it.
No, it's the first time.
First
Is
time.
it really?
He just dates people.
Because I saw that headline that like George Clooney got, and my brain was like, I'm done with this one, and I was like looking for something else to, I really do think I thought he had been married several times.
He wants to kill you, dick.
He wants to storm you,
we
dick.
We rarely get topical.
We try to prevent it.
Well, this just shows how daft I am. I'm so out of the loop right now of
daft. Now that's a good name for a Clinton child, I think.
Daft.
Or an improv.
Or Deft Clinton.
Daft Clinton. Daft Clinton.
All right, well, let's now take a look at Karen's weekly look at those movie makers whose parents were baby makers as we bring the show to a close with Karen's birthdays. And here we go.
All right, so we're going to start off our birthdays by wishing a happy birthday to Julie Andrews, who turns 79, but can play anywhere from the original Super Nanny to a dame of all things. Now, you know her for being prim and proper, winning the Academy Award for Mary Poppins, but my favorite Julie Andrews performance was when her husband Blake Edwards had her show her boobs in S.O.B. Did any of you see that?
A couple times. Hilarious movie.
Hilarious, and she is a nice rack.
Oh, now I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to see it.
At least go online and check it out because you could just
buddy.
see that she's so happy.
My buddy.
You can see that she's so happy while she's doing it. I think she's finally like, screw everybody. I'm showing my tits.
I don't know SOB, but I know the video cover because I worked in a video store for so long. There's certain movies I don't know, but I can tell you exactly what the video box cover looks like. And it's a weird animated bull with like a middle finger or something. Yeah.
It's a bull in a director's chair.
Oh, is it in a director's chair?
Yeah,
Okay,
to show you that.
I didn't. There.
Hey!
And that's the
got it
exact
right
copy
here.
that we had at Center Stage Video,
Yeah,
Oxford,
I
Ohio.
hang on to shit. So
Wait a minute.
It's
Let's-
even got the barcode on it.
Oh, man.
Hollywood gets it in the jugular. Variety.
I'm gonna storm this movie later.
I imagine she would only do that for her husband, right? Yeah. Blake got Mary Poppins to show the world her tits.
Absolutely.
That's the best. You need to see that
Now,
movie.
did you know that in 1998 she had some routine surgery on her vocal cords? It was a little node, non-cancerous, and the guy doing the surgery messed it up and ruined her voice.
Yes.
No.
Really?
Unbelievable. Routine surgery.
I bet that's a pretty good lawsuit.
All right, so they sued and eventually settled out of court to an undisclosed sum
You know why
of
that
money.
happened?
Why?
Because any doctor capable of doing that was smart enough to know not to take the chance.
Yeah.
So they had to go to Nick, upstairs Hollywood doctor, to do it.
Ah!
I wouldn't.
Wow.
I wouldn't do it.
Maybe that's
I remember
it.
that story. I'm like, how
Isn't
do you
that
fuck
crazy?
that up? Oh God.
But I'm just thinking, even though she can't sing, she can always fall back on porn.
The rack.
Speaking of great cans, let us wish a happy birthday to Susan Sarandon, who turned 67 but can play anywhere from a sexy vixen to a grandmother. No,
With a great
actually,
rack.
let me take that back.
She can't do that.
She can't play a grandmother. She tried to play a grandmother in Tammy, and I did not buy it. I could not get into it. She just is still She may not be young kitten hot, but she's still
The math is there, but she's
woman
voluptuous.
hot. Yeah, you still look at her and go, she's awesome. I'd fuck her. And I didn't feel that she was over the hill. Cloris Leachman, however, could have played that role, I think, because she had more of that. She had the spunk, but she also had the I kind of look like an old lady.
Cloris Leachman is in that like kind of scary area right now, isn't she? That like kind of like where Nick Nolte is and Bill Cosby, where you're like, oh, you're on that cusp of you're about to like turn the entire world like you're unreliable.
I think she's still a little fun though.
Cloris? Yeah, I mean like if you get, but I'm worried.
What has she been in recently?
Huh?
Has Cloris Leachman been in something recently?
She just did Raising Hope for
George
many
Clooney.
Yeah, and we just saw her live. She was speaking she did George Clooney at the bachelor party.
George Clooney was in Cloris Leachman.
We just saw her giving Mel
Brooks.
I almost said Gibson. Mel Gibson. A hard time, and she was just out of hand. I did a show one time where she came out and she did a speech before the play, and the guest of honor was this lady called the Supreme Master, which is all crazy anyway. But Cloris Leachman just made it sound like she was a drunk and just made jokes about the woman during the presentation, and it was kind of amazing.
Yeah. See, Cosby, though, he could get on a rant where he just wouldn't be funny anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Gone. I think she'd still be funny, even if she's loony.
Maybe she doesn't know where she is. She
if
seems
we can
a little crazy.
At least pinpoint that exact moment when someone goes from like being like beloved to you've slipped into the other side.
Yeah, there's got to be a name for that moment.
I just have a fun game here for the table. We saw Julie Andrews. Well, I saw her breasts in SOB. What movie, do I ask of you, do we see Susan Sarandon's girls? There's two of them that I know of.
Not Bull Durham.
No, we don't see them there, but she's hot in that.
The back-ish.
Thelma and Louise?
Nope, not so much, but
Rocky
that's
Horror
a good
Picture
guess.
Show.
No.
That's bra and panties.
That's bra and panties, though it's still hot. I'm talking flesh, and one of them is a lesbian scene with Catherine Deneuve.
Whoa. What?
Yeah, look that up when you
Don't
get home.
know this one.
The Client?
It's called The Hunger.
Oh, that's Tony Scott directed that.
Yep.
She's in that with Catherine Deneuve. Jesus, I don't
Do
know
a
that
little
movie.
lesbian action. And White Palace. And I don't know White Palace, but that's what they said.
White Palace sex scene is the craziest, most awesome scene ever. James Spader's asleep. He wakes up. She's on top of him. It's the greatest. It's the greatest.
Oh, well, good. Excellent. And lastly, let's wish
She's
a
the
happy...
older woman just owning him.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Let's wish a happy
I could
birthday.
go on.
Yeah.
Please do.
Happy
please do.
birthday to Zach Galifianakis, who turns 45, but
Gesundheit.
he can play anywhere from funny to furry. And this is actually a trifecta for the movie guys' birthdays. It's a hat trick. Today, I have 3 people who've been naked in movies, all in my birthdays, and it's very exciting. Now, can you tell me which movies Zach Galifianakis has been naked in?
Completely? Balls and penis?
Balls and penis.
Really?
Franks and Beans? Wow.
Well, now, in one of them, I don't know if his balls and penis, but we see ass.
Yeah. Probably The Hangover.
Yeah,
He's got to be
The
naked
Hangover.
somewhere, right?
But
Yeah.
then, this is what cracked me up, is he's naked in a movie that we have not heard of that came out August 22nd of 2014 called Are You Here?
Huh.
Does
I think
anybody-
the answer is no.
No.
I like that Karen put these together and was like, I wonder if any of these people have been naked. And then she found out that they'd all been naked. Like, you had to do an extra special search.
It's a 120-minute film of him pointing at his penis.
Look at this.
Are you here?
Are you here? And
Nudity.
Scarlett Johansson got
keeps
naked in that
moving his
movie
belly
this
around.
summer, and everybody heard about that.
Oh,
Yeah. So I'm just saying that didn't open to a great release. But anyway, Lee, you know how much I love hearing celebrities sing.
People ask me all the time,
Yes.
tell me 2 interesting things about Karen. First, she wants to be naked in a movie.
Sure.
Second of all, she loves to hear celebrities sing.
And so I thought, well, since we had Julie Andrews on the birthdays this week, of course we won't listen to her sing. We will listen
She sings a lot.
Right. We'll listen to Zach
Not anymore.
Galifianakis sing
Much better choice.
a beautiful rendition of Ave Maria from Hangover 3.
By the way, after this. Not bad,
More.
By
Happy
the way,
birthday to all of
I would
them.
like to tell you
Yes.
that Matt Craig has some pipes on him as well. There is a special song I would like to request him to sing. I've known Matt for a while, but we did not both realize we were both from Dayton, Ohio until a couple years ago. And when we made the connection that we were both from Dayton, Ohio, Matt immediately launched into a favorite local commercial
I love
of my youth. Matt, Craig, before you leave the show, would you please sing the Voss theme from the...
If your car is acting funny, making sounds you've never heard, like a screaming wounded banshee, you're a wild and woolly bird. Next time you buy a car, heed my word. And then a horse head would come in and he'd go, get a Voss Chevrolet.
Good Lord.
Oh, it's so good.
Good as a Dayton connection.
That was so good.
Anything described as woolly is just the best.
I know. It's a weird one. It's such a weird commercial.
Get
It
a
sticks
Voss.
with you. It climbs in your head.
All right, that wraps another Movie Showcast. Everybody follow us on Twitter at The Movie Guys, on Facebook.com/The Movie Guys, as well as YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Vine, Instagram, all that shit. Thanks to Matt Craig.
Yay, Mr. Craig.
What are we plugging? Where do we find it?
I do improv on a monthly basis here in Los Angeles with Frank and Matt, which you can go to frankandmatt.com, and you can find out. Next show is October 14th, and then again the 28th, and we're all the time. And I write on a show right now called Wabbit, which will launch. It's a new Bugs Bunny short. It'll launch in April of 2015. So if you can, mark your calendars. New Bugs Bunny should be very
calendars for April. Outstanding. All right, and thanks to Steve Scholes for his writing contributions to the show every week.
Steve.
And remember, you can always find everything we're up to at themovieguys.net. We'll be back next week with something for Adam, Dracula Untold, something for Karen,
kind of excited,
the judge, and something for, well, we're not sure, but also opening is Alexander in the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day.
I'll take it.
All right, we'll see you then.
Yay!